Good morning. Welcome to the Peorian. I'm your host, Paul Gordon. For 115 years, the Peoria Symphony Orchestra has been making beautiful music, playing everything from Broadway tunes to what is considered the top classical music ever written. Masterpieces all, the songs performed by the orchestra have enthralled music lovers for years. And now the symphony, as it is often called, is ready to begin a new season. 8 concerts are scheduled in the symphony's 2012-2013 season, 6 of them at the Peoria Civic Center Theater, and the other 2 at Grace Presbyterian Church in Peoria, which has become a top venue for classical music concerts. The season, which begins Saturday, September 22nd at 8 p.m. at the Civic Center, with a concert titled Broadway Tonight, will again feature world-renowned artists sharing their talents with local audiences. George Stelluto will be marking his 3rd season at the helm of the Peoria Symphony, and he has again secured the type of programming mix that last year earned the symphony special recognition from the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. George Stelluto is my guest today, and we will discuss that recognition along with the symphony schedule after these messages. Welcome back to the Peorian. With me today is George Stelluto, director of the Peoria Symphony Orchestra, which will begin a new season on September 22nd. Thank you for coming today, George.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the upcoming season. The schedule, I think it looks marvelous. Are you excited about it?
I'm completely excited about it. The way I would sum up the season is that if you're interested in discovering great music, if you've never been to the symphony before, this is the season to go. We've got so many of the most famous, most loved works of the standard repertoire this season that you wouldn't want to miss it. So if you're going to explore classical music, this is the year to do it. And if you are a regular orchestra goer and attender of concerts of classical music, then you're going to love this season because it's going to be all your favorites.
Now, your shows usually have a theme.
Mm-hmm.
The first show, I believe, is themed about Broadway, correct?
Yeah, it's called Broadway Tonight, and we're very happy to have our guest artist is going to be Ashley Brown, who was the original Mary Poppins on the 2006 Broadway show, and she opened the season at the Ravinia Festival this summer with the Chicago Symphony, and so we're very excited to have her come down. Plus, we're going to have a great cast of our local excellent musical theater actors and singers to accompany her on stage.
Oh, really? Like, can you name some names on that?
Well, we just haven't actually finalized that list. We just finished our auditions, and we're still debating about who actually will be on that list, but I can assure you it's going to be a great cast.
And then you follow that one with
in October is called A Grand Occasion, and we have, if you love Tchaikovsky, you certainly know the Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony. It's a fantastic work of art, of Western art, not just of music. I mean, it's a pillar of the artistic accomplishment in Western culture, but it's also, you know, a wonderful piece that deals with kind of a main theme that goes through a lot of struggles. It's kind of a psychological piece, and it ends with a wonderful, triumphant result of these struggles. Also in that program is a wonderful soloist named Anna Lee, who's she's a 15-year-old violinist from New York. We had her out here 2 years ago when she was 13. She played Mozart concerto and conducted it. I work with Anna on Saturdays. She's in my class at the pre-college at Juilliard. But she also, since then, has soloed with the New York Philharmonic and was the youngest finalist and prize winner at the Sibelius competition this year.
I'm not going to ask you to go through the entire 8-show season right now, but I do know that in November, your show is going to kind of be in honor of the new museum opening. Isn't that correct?
That's right. We've got The Planets, which is by Gustav Holst. That's a wonderful piece that deals with not just the planets as objects, but you know, the whole psychology and mystique around our fascination with space and with the planets over the centuries. And when Holst composed this piece, he got very interested in astronomy and astrology at the same time. And so the piece kind of sums up our fascination with it, and we're going to have a wonderful film that accompanies the music with, by a filmmaker in New York who's already won some awards, and he's putting together a very creative presentation of these, a visual depiction of the music, if you will, along with actual scientific photographs and films from Mars and things like that, especially the latest one. So it's a very exciting concept. And as well, I should mention that we have the return this season of the World Artist Series. Andre Watts will be joining us for a concert in March and in April, sorry, and he's the perfect person to come back and start that series again for us.
Okay. Of the visiting artists, is he probably the most well-known?
I'd say he's certainly the most well-known. I mean, he's going to be appearing with the New York Phil this year. Okay. I think early in their season, and he's, you know, of course, an icon of American piano virtuosos, and everybody knows Andre. And he'll be playing the Beethoven Emperor Concerto, which is again one of the pillars of the piano solo repertoire. And then we're ending the season with Cara Shea Thompson singing Mahler 4. And she herself has sung with the Chicago Symphony last season at Ravinia, but she also sang with us last season, so we're bringing her back. And then we have a special guest this year in our own Kyle DiZappo, who teaches at Bradley. She'll be soloing on flute with the orchestra in March.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about where the Peoria Symphony Orchestra ranks among other orchestras around the country. And we're going to ask George how the scheduling is done. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Peorian. My guest today is George Stelluto, music director for the Peoria Symphony Orchestra. George, I know you're prejudiced, which is natural, of course, but in your opinion, how does the Peoria Symphony stack up against symphony orchestras in cities of similar size in the country?
Well, I think it certainly ranks among the top in cities of its size in the country, but it also, you know, it has special qualities that a lot of orchestras don't have. For instance, this is our 115th year in existence. We're only about 8 years younger than the Chicago Symphony itself. And, you know, we have musicians that come from Peoria and from the region and from all over. Some of them come from Chicago, and many musicians that have played with us have gone on to play in bigger orchestras around the country, major professional orchestras, and we had a couple of them playing with us last year, and afterward they said, you know, this is one of the best orchestras I play in the region. So I think we're very fortunate regionally. We're certainly recognized nationally. We just got an award last year from the League of American Orchestras for our programming from ASCAP, and we were presented at their national conference with an award for that. So you know, this is a very special orchestra with very special leadership on the board, on the staff, and on the foundation board, and we're very lucky in Peoria to have such a long-lived orchestra with such a great tradition. Is
it rare for a city or metro area of our size to even have a professional orchestra?
It's certainly rare, and unfortunately getting rarer. There are a lot of orchestras that have not survived some of the harder times that have befallen the country economically, but the reason that we are fortunate and have survived is because of the good leadership on the foundation board and the board and our executive director and things like that. We're a good, solid foundation to build on for the future, and have enjoyed it working with everybody here. So,
you mentioned that you got an award for your programming. When you prepare the program for the season, what do you try to do as far as your mix of styles and music?
Well, I kind of look at a program like a meal, and I look at a season in perspective of several seasons. So, you know, we don't do 50 concerts a year, so you're not going to get, all the Beethoven symphonies in one season, and you're not going to get all the Tchaikovsky symphonies in one season. So you have to look at programming over a multiple set of years and look at what the balance is over those 3 to 4 years. So sometimes when you start a meal, you want a nice appetizer that's usually an overture or something like that, that people will know. One of those pieces this year is the William Tell Overture. And then you usually have some kind of, if it's a gourmet meal, which I'd like to think our concerts are, we have a soup course of something, which could be a concerto, and that can be anybody from Anna Lee to Andre Watts to also Jade Simmons, who's a pianist who's joining us this year as a wonderful pianist and a former Miss Illinois. So that's quite a soup to enjoy. And then you have your main course, which would be like the symphony, Tchaikovsky, Symphony No. 5, things like that. That sometimes you want meals that are comfort and familiar, and you've just been looking forward to them, and other times you want something exciting and unfamiliar and a little bit tantalizing, and sometimes you want a combination of those things. And that's the reason we go to good restaurants, is because we like restaurants that can offer us all those choices and we can make them, and that's why we go to good concerts. So we can be reaffirmed in what we love and discover new things to love.
Is that also when you decide on who to invite as your guest artist?
Mm-hmm. Sure. We, Anna's coming back because she was, I think, a big favorite in the community, and Andre's coming back. He hasn't been here in a long time, but it'll be nice to have him back. And then we can introduce people like Jade and some other new faces to the audience. So we build a kind of set of favorites over many years, and then we can add to that and bring some back. So it's a very similar process.
And some of them may not be as big a name as Andre Watts now, but they certainly may someday be.
Absolutely. I mean, I certainly could see Anna Lee becoming something like that. And then when you have somebody like Kyle, who everybody loves and hears all the time, at Bradley, you have those familiar favorites as well.
Okay. We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we will talk about how you can still become a subscriber for this season. But first, here is our own Kevin Kaiser to tell us what's happening in the literary world.
This week I'm going to talk about one of my favorite authors in Central Illinois, homeboy, David Foster Wallace. Even though Wallace shuffled off his mortal coil 4 years ago at the age of 46, there are still new books coming out about him every year. That's a telling sign of a great writer who's transcending his generation. Even when he was alive, he was compared to DeLillo and Pynchon, which is not too shabby. And now there's a new book about Wallace called Every Love Story is a Ghost Story, A Life of David Foster Wallace by D.T. Max. This is a revealing new biography which leverages earlier studies, one of which I covered in a previous segment, called Conversations with David Foster Wallace. In Every Love Story is a Ghost Story, Max connects Wallace's work to his life, in particular the crippling depression he battled throughout his adult life. For a man who produced at least one of the greatest novels of the late 20th century, he struggled to write and find a form for the way his frenetic mind worked. He also struggled to navigate through the humdrum routines of daily life. And while the book doesn't delve too much into the reasons Wallace went off his medications just before he committed suicide, it does provide an incredibly detailed account of a great artist who is conflicted and painfully self-conscious. Wallace was an excellent student in high school and a star tennis player, who never lost his Midwestern sensibilities, even when he moved to California to teach at Pomona College. His father was a philosophy teacher at the U of I, and his mother taught English at a community college. In this hyper-literate environment, Wallace couldn't decide what he wanted to do with his life. He considered politics at one point and even voted for Reagan in 1984. While Wallace was fascinated by the works of many authors, annotating dozens and dozens of novels with his own notes, he was equally fascinated with the information overload he saw going on about him. In this book, Max does a great job of chronicling Wallace's development as a writer. He argues that Wallace's work focused on the secondhand desire, how our passions are no longer our own, and how in the media age, he writes, we are nothing but minds waiting to be filled, emotions waiting to be manipulated. Happiness, as Wallace wrote in The Pale King, is the ability to find second-by-second joy, plus gratitude at the gift of being alive. Sadly, that was something Wallace was not able to find in his own life. In Max's words, this was his effort to show the world what it was like to be human. So check out Every Love Story is a Ghost Story, A Life of David Foster Wallace by D.T. Max. And while you're at it, check out David Foster Wallace for yourself. I really believe he's going to be known for generations to come, just like Faulkner, Hemingway, and DeLillo. So that's all for this week. See you next week, suckers.
Welcome back to the Peorian and my guest, George Stelluto, the music director of the Peoria Symphony Orchestra. George, before I talk to you about subscribers, I wanted to ask you real quick, what attracted you to Peoria?
I mentioned a little bit of this before, that it's got a solid board of really good people. It's got a solid foundation board that manages its endowment of really good people, and it's got a great staff that works hard. The musicians themselves are top quality and are dedicated, and when I came and I did my my audition concert here, I thought I had really no reference for the orchestra, and by the time we got to the concert, I was like, wow, this is really something special here. So it's easy to be attracted to this orchestra and this community.
So you are, now that you're here, you are pleased with the support that you receive from your board and from the public also?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, we have a very hard-working board, and our public reach and support is growing every year, and I think it's been a great time here.
Well, that's a good transition. And talking about the subscribers,
yes.
How important are subscribers to the Symphony
Well, subscribers, of course, are the basis of our ticket sales. It helps us plan a season by knowing, okay, we have X number of people that have bought tickets for every concert. That being said, the subscribers our subscriber base is up this year, which I'm really happy. I think we're doing a great job with that. We have a lot of people, a lot of new subscribers coming in. I just met one yesterday. She and her husband own a farm out in East Peoria, and she just happened to be in the office, and I met her. So that was great. It's good to meet the new subscribers. So all of that is looking great. But the nice thing about our ticket packages this year is that we realize that Peoria is a vibrant town, and a lot of people are busy or traveling, and sometimes you buy a subscription for a whole season and you can't be at every concert. So we have all kinds of options for everybody now. We have a build your own season 4-pack for maybe just you can only be here 4 times. We have policies now where if you are a subscriber and you miss a concert, you can trade that ticket in for a concert later on and bring somebody with you, or there's all kinds of options. So the subscriber base is really our lifeblood, and we really love it that people come and do that. But what's nice now is that being a subscriber doesn't mean that you're locked into one set of options and possibilities for the season. You can actually create many possibilities for yourself and work around your own schedule and still be a subscriber to the symphony.
And this year, new subscribers get
yes, this year it's a
discount.
great deal. I just think this is wonderful. You can become a subscriber to the symphony. You can buy a subscription for the entire year of concerts for half the normal cost of being a subscriber. That's an incredible deal.
That's for all 8 concerts?
Yeah, all 8 concerts, and given the quality of the artists and the quality of the orchestra and the performances you're going to get, that's unheard of. It's really a great deal.
Okay, it used to be that going to a symphony orchestra concert was, a big deal. People went out to dinner beforehand, they dressed up nice. Is it still that way?
I think it still is, but it can be a dress up nice, go out to dinner thing, or it can be a bring your family to the concert thing too. I mean, we're trying to create an atmosphere of inclusion with the Peoria Symphony Orchestra, and we want to make it an environment of comfort for people that want to do that kind of, okay, we're going to dress up and we're going out to dinner and then we're going to be at our box and enjoy the concert, or the family of 4 with 2 kids that are really interested in music and the parents want to go with them. So we're creating options and possibilities for everybody this season that way.
So you don't care if somebody shows up in blue jeans? And
Absolutely
tennis
not. I'd show up in blue jeans if they'd let me, but I
That
usually
might
do
be
that
kinda
after.
fun.
But one of the things I like to do with, I like to meet all these different kinds of audience members. So during the intermission, I usually go out into the lobby and I say hi to people and talk to them. And afterward, I like to meet people in the lobby afterward and just see how they enjoyed the concert, especially if they're new concert goers. I always love to see my favorites, and my friends and all the people that I'm familiar with that come all the time, but new concert goers I love to meet.
Do members of the orchestra also try to meet with
Yeah, we try to encourage them to come out, and sometimes, in the intermission, they're warming up for the next piece.
Okay.
But sometimes, at the end, they do come out and talk to people, and that's what we want. We want that sense of community and a sense of ease and familiarity with both the art and the artists.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed today's program and that you are excited about the Peoria Symphony Orchestra's upcoming season. Remember, you can see this program and earlier episodes of The Peorian on our website, thepeorian.com. And tune in next week when my guest will be Don Welch, the new CEO of the Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. That will be at 8 a.m. next Sunday on WHOI TV and on our website, thepeorian.com. Until then, have a good week.
Música